interview with us, right, on the homelessness in the tri-state. Um, why? What happened that you became homeless?
Well, my homelessness started in Tucson, and it was just a downward spiral after I relapsed. I lost control because we don't have control of our addictions, and I lost everything there. And I was homeless in Tucson for a while, and thought maybe if I came back to Bullhead, which is my home, things would get better. And it just hasn't been quite as easy as I thought it was going to be.
So how long have you been homeless?
I've been homeless for just over a year.
For over a year. And you before we went live, you said that you came out of homelessness before, and but then I guess you said you made that wrong choice. I guess you're talking about relapse. You relapsed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to put words in your mouth. So you know, I was sharing with you, Savannah, that I also was homeless for a couple of years, or about a year, in Phoenix, Arizona, on Van Buren, and I was addicted to meth. And so, how do you plan, or how do you see that you're going to be able to overcome homelessness again?
Um, I'm, I kind of right now I feel stuck. Uh, I try like different things, but the people who are willing to like help out usually are weirdo men.
Right, I understand that.
And I'd much rather sleep in a bush than have some weirdo trying to uh, touch me or something. So I don't know how I'm going to come out of this one. Last time it took prison, so hopefully that's not what happens again.
So, what addiction? Like, what is your drug of choice?
I'm addicted to that.
To meth? Okay. Well, I was sharing with you, Savannah, I was addicted to meth for like 20 years. So every time I would go in prison and come back out, I always got addicted or relapse and went back to meth. So I just want to encourage you, Savannah, that this is not the end. You know what I mean? And you came out of this before, and I want to encourage you that you can do it again. You know what I mean? And don't give up on yourself. Don't quit. Don't give up on yourself. You can do it. You know what I mean? And you seem like you have a good head on your shoulder. And my wife and my daughter, we want to encourage you, not to give up. And like we shared with you, and we told you, if we ever see you again, we be assured that we will stop and we will give you some assistance, water, maybe $5 or $10. We would do what we can do. You know what I mean? But I just want to encourage you, not to give up. And there's things that we talked about before the live, and those things are real. So where do you basically stay at, or where do you stay?
I try to.
You move around.
Yeah, I move around just because like I'm not comfortable in like places where there's too many people. Just because it's no matter where you are, even as pretty and as this town is, like it's not safe being a female and then out on your own. So when I need sleep, I try to stay with friends or like sleep on their couch. But often like I stay up for way too long because I don't have that option. But mostly I'm in this area around the Riviera area.
Right.
It's easier, I feel, down here than other parts of town.
Well, whatever you do, just remember to stay safe, and be aware and alert of your surroundings. Go ahead, babe.
I wanted to ask you a couple questions, Savannah. Before we went live, we were talking about awareness, that the resources. What do you feel that this city has available for you for resources?
So far, I haven't found very much. I know Catholic Charity has like a shelter. I know that they have a program for like they'll if you do their program, they'll house you and they'll pay your rent for a few months, and help you like get into a place and pay your rent and like your deposit and stuff. But I haven't looked too much into that program. At the time when I heard about it, it wasn't something that was gonna see what I thought was more important. So.
Right, and I know before we went live, we were talking about, the last time you came up and out of homelessness, you got clean, you got sober, you had a great job, you had a car, you were about to get a loan to get a house, everything was lining up, and I just wanted you to share with what you shared with us, because I think that is such a strong word. The word that you used was, I made a
Bad choice.
Yes.
Bad decisions.
yes, and so I think I like how you worded that, and that's what I told you. I think that's a real game changer. Anybody coming out of addiction that, myself, my husband, that's to keep it real. A lot of times what I've seen, and I'm no professional, but what I've seen is the people that don't want to take it seriously are still going to be victim mode. I still have friends and I still have family that are caught up in that addiction, and all you hear is poor is me and woe is me and it's everybody else's fault, and they're never.
I wouldn't do this if you didn't do that.
Exactly.
And why you made me.
Exactly, that victim. And so I feel that, for you, that is an encouragement right there, because right there you are owning that choice. So I feel that's going to go very far for you, Savanah, and I feel, and I know you can do it. You've done it before. You could absolutely do it again.
Yes.
Just because you're already speaking, I messed up. None of us are perfect. None of us. We all fall. We all make mistakes. But when you own it, that's the game changer.
The first step to getting better is knowing what the problem is.
Amen.
And then the next step is doing something about it.
Amen.
So I know the problem. I know even how to fix the problem. I just haven't taken all the steps necessary to fix it yet.
And I know, like, when I was on my addiction, that was a hard thing. Like, I wasn't ready. And so I think until we get to that point in our lives where we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when change could come. Like I told you, when my husband and I, we got clean, we got sober, it took for us, we had to change our people, places, and things. We had to leave. And we did. And I got serious with my walk and my sobriety. And he was still kind of dabbling on the fence. And so when he relapsed, I told you, I left. I wanted no part of it, because I know if I stayed, I would have went right back into it. And I was at that point in my life where I was tired of being sick and tired. I had lost so much and just burned so many bridges and so many ties, and just, I didn't want it anymore. And so as much as I loved him, he just wasn't at that point yet. And I had to step away and let him live his life, but I refused to go back to that. So I honestly feel like you've got all the tools, you have all the knowledge, now it's just a matter of time. And then I did want to ask, what was the longest time you've been sober?
I was 2 months shy of 7 years when I relapsed.
Amen. So for me, I think my longest was 7 years prior to this, and it was just, I stayed clean and sober for 7 years, and I think, like you hit it on the nail, with addiction is a terrible disease. It is an everyday struggle, and it doesn't matter, one addiction. When you have an addictive personality, which a lot of people do, yeah, I was able to give up meth, yeah, I was able to give up alcohol, yeah, I gave up tobacco, yeah, I gave up gambling, I gave up everything. But then my addiction went to food. So,
I was gonna ask if you traded.
Yeah, absolutely. Or, you gung-ho at the gym, and now you're addicted to, there's just certain things when we have these addictive personalities, and I know we had spoke before, but like, they're so quick to just medicate you, give you medicine, and I don't feel that that's dealing with the problem. Now we're just masking the problem. Now we're trying to recover, but they're just giving us more drugs to make us addicted to something else.
They said when I came out of prison, well, we could put you on Adderall. I'm a meth addict.
Yeah.
Like,
why
don't
would
do
you-
that.
What prison were you in?
I was in Perryville.
Oh, in Perryville.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was out don't do that. And I told the doctor straight up, like, if you give me the legal form of what my drug of choice is, I'm not gonna do well with it. So they jotted that down, and later when I thought maybe something might be helpful, like a small dose to keep me focused, or then it was too late. Now they're not gonna give me nothing, but they'll give me 12 other medications that were not helping the problem at all.
But this is where I kind of feel like where we fail as a whole, as a society, as a country, that we have no PhDs. We're not trained psychologists, we're not trained doctors, but we are addicts.
Yeah.
And so from addictive personalities, we are able to see firsthand, it just don't make any sense. I don't have a PhD in that, but I mean, where's the sense in that? I'm recovering and you want to give me something. And so this is where I feel like, again, where I said, where we fall through the cracks as a whole, as a society. You know, I touched with you when we go down to Phoenix, there's so many of the mental health places that are closed. There's just no resources. And so we realize there's a huge situation. Yes, there's an epidemic in opiates, there's an epidemic in meth, you know, we've got homeless, but what are we doing as a solution? What would you think, you know, from your perspective of being out here, what would be good alternatives for people?
For people being more aware of what resources there are, because there are some here, just they're not very well known, and they're difficult. They're difficult to get to, they're difficult to use, and whoever's in charge of the homeless problem in Tucson, like, they need to hire them here, because
They
Tucson's
better.
got it figured out. They do. They got it figured out. It's
Much
So
better.
why did you leave Tucson?
I thought coming home would be easier. My relationship was really bad, and I just, like, I didn't, and all the time that I was in Tucson, I made some friends, but not anyone, like, having relapsed, I wasn't comfortable going around the friends that I had made who were all NA and trying to do good. I didn't want to be around them and messed up, because sometimes that's triggering to people, and I'd rather keep them safe by not being there and then expose them to what I was doing and risk them losing their
Okay.
spirit.
So when you left Tucson, how long ago did you leave Tucson?
I left Tucson at the end of last November.
Okay. When you were released from prison, did you come to Tucson or you went to Phoenix?
I went to